The Tennessee Titans made the right move, trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs. That and more on an emergency edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, we got an emergency edition of the show. The Tennessee Titans make an early morning trade and send DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs, and a move that they should have made. I'm going to break it all down and tell you what comes next. Before I do, thank you for making Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. And if you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one, because I have nonstop Tennessee Titans content for you for free all year round, including emergency episodes like this. And later on tonight, I am going to have the crossover Thursday episode out with Matt Derry from Locked On Lions, game preview episode tomorrow. And then, of course, on Sunday, I'll be live to break down the game. This was a move that needed to happen. I've been talking about it on the show for a few weeks now. The Tennessee Titans trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs. It is a conditional 4th-round pick. It could be a 5th-round pick. It could be a 4th-round pick, depending on certain team success for the Kansas City Chiefs, certain player success for DeAndre Hopkins. We don't have the exact terms right now. We do know that the Tennessee Titans are going to be eating some of the salary for DeAndre Hopkins, which it's very low, and why wouldn't the Titans eat salary to get a better draft pick? They're not in a position where they need a ton of salary cap during the season, and Kansas City didn't have a lot of salary cap. So I absolutely would eat salary cap to get a better draft pick. At the end of the day, though, this is 100% what the Tennessee Titans needed to do. Like, they're 1-5. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a free agent after the season. He's 32 years old with a banged-up knee. This is a move that made a ton of sense for the Titans. And I recognize that some people are going to be upset about this trade and are going to be angry about this trade. And I think that that is a case of displaced anger. I think a lot of people are angry that the Titans are 1-5. I think a lot of people are angry that the team hasn't lived up to their own personal expectations this year. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be mad. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be angry about where the Tennessee Titans are at right now. I think that's fair, but you should not be angry about this trade considering where the Titans are at. Like, this was absolutely the right move for the Tennessee Titans. And not only should they have made this trade, there are more trades that should be coming for the Titans at this time. You have to accept the reality of your situation. You only make things worse on yourself if you continue to be stubborn and compound your mistakes. The Titans are not going to the playoffs. They're 1-5. They are losing to Detroit this week. They will be 1-6. Trading DeAndre Hopkins and getting back draft capital is exactly what they should be doing. Now, there's a lot of doomsday stuff happening with Titans fans right now. Oh, you know, they're going to waste those draft picks and blah, blah, blah. And I just don't understand that philosophy. A lot of people said last year when the Titans traded Kevin Byard for a 5th and a 6th-round pick, they said, oh, that 5th and 6th-round pick is going to turn into nothing anyway. We gave up Kevin Byard for players who aren't even going to make the team. Well, those players turned into Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Jaquan Jackson. So I just don't understand the instant doomsday reaction that a lot of people have that, oh, this pick is going to mean nothing. I don't agree with that at all. This team should be loading up on draft picks. This team should be trying to get as much draft capital as they possibly can. So this was the right move for the Tennessee Titans to make. If you're upset about where the Titans are at as a team right now, I fully understand that. But there is no room, in my opinion, to say that people should be angry about this trade. It doesn't make any sense if you're mad that the Titans made this move. This is a move that the Tennessee Titans should have made. It makes sense for both teams. The Kansas City Chiefs needed some more weapons after the injuries they've had. The Titans season is over, and they need to establish more draft capital moving forward to help build this roster up. Now, what happens from here? What comes next for the Titans, not only for the team, but on the trade market? I'm going to discuss that as well. Before I do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by pre-alcohol probiotic drink from Zbiotics. Pre-alcohol probiotic drink by Zbiotics is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink alcohol, it gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break down this byproduct. Just remember to make Zbiotic your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I've actually used the pre-alcohol drink from Zbiotic, and let me tell you, it works. I noticed the difference the next day. I took it before a round of golf on a Saturday where I had a few killer lights in there. And then the next morning when I woke up on Sunday to cover all the NFL games, I felt perfectly fine and did it without a worry. Remember, step 1, drink the pre-alcohol. Step 2, drink responsibly. Step 3, enjoy your tomorrow. Go to zbiotics.com/lockedonnfl to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On NFL at checkout. Zbiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/lockedonnfl. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout for 15% off. Today's emergency episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Titans fans, you can get started with a big return on FanDuel right now, America's #1 sportsbook. Also, you get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can go to FanDuel, check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same exact page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Make sure that you check out America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel, and that's at FanDuel.com. Titans fans, let's continue this emergency edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. DeAndre Hopkins traded. If you're an everydayer for the Locked On Titans podcast, you knew that this was coming. I have been talking about this trade and why this made sense for quite some time now. And on yesterday's show, I literally told you that best case scenario for the Titans is to get a 4th round pick, and that a 5th round pick is most likely. And the Titans have gotten a 5th round conditional where it's going to turn into a 4th round pick if DeAndre Hopkins and the Chiefs do well, which I'm expecting DeAndre Hopkins and the Chiefs to do well. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, after all. But outside of reaction to the trade, why it was a good trade for the Titans, why people upset about the trade are just not thinking logically about things, what happens next for the Titans? Well, you talk about on the football field. On the football field itself, you're going to see more Nick Westbrook-Akine, which a ton of Titans fans were begging for all year long. Traylon Burks is on IR, so probably not going to see him for another month or so. Who knows when he comes back? So it's going to be NWI. And then Jaquan Jackson, the rookie. He's been a good returner for the Titans this year, but I think it's time to get him out on the field as a wide receiver as well. That's going to make sense for the Titans. Not only that, but Bryce Oliver, the preseason star for the Titans, who's been on the practice squad throughout the season. I think Bryce Oliver gets a call up. The Titans only have 4 wide receivers on the roster right now: Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, NWI, and Jaquan Jackson. So bringing up Bryce Oliver makes a ton of sense for the Titans. That's probably what we're going to see out on the field when it comes to wide receiver going forward. And I'm excited to see Jaquan Jackson and Bryce Oliver and see what they can do early on and get them some experience with the team through the rest of the season. When it comes to trades going forward, quite Quandre Diggs is a guy that makes sense. I think that Diggs is on a 1-year deal for the Titans and has played pretty solid at safety. I think you could get probably a 6th-round pick back for Quandre Diggs. I think a guy like Arden Key for a team, and I'm going to talk about this with Matt Derry from Locked On Lions when we do the crossover Thursday episode that comes out later tonight. I think Arden Key to the Lions for a 6th, 7th-round pick could make a ton of sense. I would like to keep Dylan Radins around, but if you get a 3rd-round pick for Dylan Radins, I don't think that's going to happen. But if you get that, then you got to take that. I think the real most logical person to be traded next is Nick Folk. I think it's hard to find a good kicker for some teams right now. The Titans should have no interest in keeping a 40-year-old kicker around. If I'm the Titans, I would trade Nick Folk for a 6th-round pick or even a 7th-round pick. And then I would go pick up Braden Narvison again. He got released by the Packers. So you're not going to be in a lot of games where you're winning. So I don't really care about the reliability of a kicker. So I would get as much as I can possibly can in draft capital with a guy like Quandre Diggs, with a guy like Nick Folk, with a guy like Arden Key, with a guy like Dylan Radins, if possible. But I better get a good pick to give up Dylan Radins, because not only do I want to keep Dylan Radins around, I would like to re-sign Dylan Radins after the season. I think that would make a ton of sense. So if I'm the Titans, I'm looking at Quandre Diggs. I'm looking at Nick Folk. I'm looking at Arden Key. Those are the guys that I would be trading number 1 next. It makes the most sense. Arden Key probably going to get released after the year. He's more of a rotational rusher. Quandre Diggs is on a 1-year contract and most likely won't be back next year anyway. And Nick Folk is a 40-year-old kicker. I mean, what sense does it make for the Titans at 1-6 to keep a 40-year-old kicker around? Now, the problem with, and let's talk about this salary situation, because I see some people say, I'm upset that the Titans are eating salary. Well, do you know how much DeAndre Hopkins' salary is? Let me just ask you that, because why would you be mad about that? Why would that be an issue for DeAndre Hopkins? I don't quite understand the outrage there. If you're happy with the trade and mad the Titans are eating salary, I guess I don't understand if you understand what his salary is this year. Like, you're looking at $2.5 to $4.5 million. Like, it's not a bunch of money, and it's not going to affect the Titans next year. It's not going to change anything about what they're going to do with the void cash next year. So I don't understand why anybody would be. Hopkins' base salary this year was $5 million. That means the Titans are going to eat $3 million of it. Would you rather have a 6th-round pick and the Chiefs take all the salary back? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So why would anyone care about that? That I don't understand. Now, some people are going to say, why would you trade him to the Kansas City Chiefs? Blah, 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 blah. Why would that matter? Why? I just don't understand. I just don't understand the logic of why you would rather take a 6th-round pick from the Steelers rather than a 4th-round pick from the Chiefs. Why? Why would you intentionally take a worse deal out of what? Emotion, anger, pity? You don't make business deals based on those things. I just don't. I guess I don't logically understand any fans who would say, don't trade him to Kansas City, take a lesser deal from a different team. I don't care what Kansas City does. The Titans are 1-5. You got to worry about yourself. So, yeah, if Kansas City is giving you the best deal, then you take the best deal. What? I can't even compute. At the end of the day, I think anybody who's mad about this is just mad the Titans are 1-5. That's all it comes down to. You're angry that the Titans are 1-5. You expected the season to go better. It didn't go better. And now you're going to be mad about anything at every turn. And I get being mad that the Titans aren't doing as well as we all hoped, but that doesn't mean that you don't make smart decisions going forward based on where you're at right now. So this was the right move for the Titans. This was a good pick. And as a reminder, a lot of you guys who are mad right now were mad when the Titans traded Kevin Byard and the Titans got Jaquan Jackson and Jarvis Brownlee Jr. because of the trade with Kevin Byard. So before you go off saying the draft picks mean nothing, just remember things like that. That's all I have to say. So the right move for the Titans. They should make more trades going forward. And, the tank is on. That's just the reality of where we're at right now. And I want the Titans to sell as many assets as they possibly can going forward. But with that being said, tonight, crossover Thursday episode with Matt Derry from Locked On Lions. That's an interesting one. It's a good episode. And then I'll be back for a game plan episode, and I'll be live after the Titans game on Sunday. So make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. My Mason Rudolph film breakdown is up on the Tic Tac Titans film channel. I would appreciate if you guys went and check that out as well. Thumbs up on the video, tighten up down in the chat. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was an emergency edition of Locked On Titans.